Meet the transgenic goat, a goat whose genetics have been altered to incorporate spider genes. Though she's ordinary looking, she's able to produce spider silk proteins, which can be collected in her milk. So why do this? Spider silk is strong and elastic, and it's ideal to use for biomedical devices as well as aerospace and transportation materials. However, farming spiders is not really ideal, so harvesting the desired product in goat's milk will allow commercial demands to be met. This is an example of current-day genetic modification. So what is genetic modification? In simple terms, it involves the alteration of one organism's genetics by adding a foreign gene from another organism that will create something that is more desirable. The result? A GMO, genetically modified organism. And if it is a product for consumption, a GMF, genetically modified food. In this video, we will demonstrate the risks of genetically modifying foods and why we feel that organisms should not be genetically engineered for consumption.
Conventional farming requires more energy to maintain. It generates greenhouse gases, pollution, and many substances harmful to the environment. Straying away from traditional agricultural methods and towards genetically modified crops can have a large influence in sustaining the ecological system and decreasing threats such as global warming. Genetically modified organisms do have a negative impact on the environment. Herbicide tolerance is the most common trait that is genetically modified in crops to prevent bacteria and unwanted pests. The problems: it can promote uninhibited use of herbicides, resulting in an accumulation of these chemical compounds in ecosystems. Herbicide tolerance can be transferred to other plants like weeds through cross-pollination. It can cause an imbalance of the food chain if herbicides used extend beyond their target species.
In theory, genetically modified foods create more job opportunities. Since the crop is said to be more reliable and likely to harvest well, more people will be able to participate in agriculture and draw from the benefits of genetically engineered crops. The income generated from this industry could be stable and predictable. Financial differences may decrease, promoting equal distribution throughout the population to increase overall health. However, the creation of genetically modified seed and offspring is in the hands of massive companies in developed nations. They control the rights to grow and produce the agricultural product. The industry will be geared toward farmers with a high income, like mass agricultural companies. Small-time farmers in already developed nations, as well as reasonably all farmers in developing nations, will be excluded from their purchase, which, in the end, widens the inequalities of the social classes.
Adequate nutrition is an urgent issue in developing countries, but usually the average income can only afford staple foods, which lack a number of vitamins and minerals needed to maintain good health. Food can be genetically enhanced to contain various vitamins, minerals, and proteins to combat nutritional deficiencies. These engineered, nutrient-enriched foods don't always work. Golden rice was developed to eradicate vitamin A deficiency, but it has been around for 20 years and its consumption has not shown significant improvement in vitamin A deficient populations. In Pakistan, a region where in 2003 the incidence of vitamin A deficiency was between 35 and 45% among children, has presently dropped to less than 5% through strategies without any use of genetically modified organisms. Instead, the government has been promoting a more diverse diet and children have been supplied with vitamin A capsules. Consumption can cause potential health threats. Genetically modified crops have higher levels of pesticide residues than regular crops, which increases risks of cancer. Allergens are also a topic of interest since there has been such a large increase in incidence in the past few years. In the UK, when genetically modified soy was introduced into the food industry, soy allergies rose by 50%.
There is little genetic variation in GMO populations, leaving them vulnerable to the threat of infectious agents. Populations that become too dependent on a certain GMO will fall apart if a sudden outbreak occurs and depletes the agriculture. This is troublesome because Canada is one of the world's largest producers of GMFs, and globally, 91% of soy and 60% of corn is transgenic. In Canada, up to 70% of processed foods contain GE ingredients. Surprisingly, there are no laws requiring the labeling of genetically modified products, whereas many European countries make it mandatory. According to Decima Research, 91% of Canadians say there should be mandatory labeling, and 80% agree that the government has provided insufficient information about this industry. Further, there are essentially no studies concerning long-term effects of GMOs. With all the potential and unknown risks involved in genetically modified foods, it seems unethical to not provide Canadians with proper information.